We have Chelsea, Calvin, and Laura here to talk from Feeding America, Kentucky's Heartland, and they're going to talk to us about Kentucky Public Libraries collaborating with Kynectors to improve SNAP accessibility. So I'm excited to have all three of you here talk with us about this. If you'll let me get this. So if that's what you're looking for, you're in the right room. All right. Maybe. Okay, here we go. All right, well, thank you, all three of you, for being here and talking to us about SNAP accessibility.
Hi, I am Laura Fralix. I work for Feeding America, Kentucky's Heartland out of Elizabethtown. I'm a SNAP outreach specialist, and I've been doing this for about a year now, and look forward to speaking with you all today.
Hi, everybody. I am Chelsea Brock. I am the SNAP Outreach Specialist for God's Pantry Food Bank. I've been there doing SNAP for about 5 years, and I'm excited to get started and collaborate with some of you all.
Hi, my name is Calvin. I'm the SNAP assistant here at God's Pantry Food Bank in Lexington, and I am also excited to collaborate.
So let's get this party started. Our objectives today, obviously, first and foremost, learn what SNAP is. Then we will talk about what the application process looks like, what Kynectors are, which is myself and Chelsea, what we can do for you. There are going to be different levels of engagement on how we think we can partner with you all and how we think it'll benefit you guys and your community. And then we want to hear from you. We want to know what your thoughts and ideas are on how we can, because we don't go to the library every day on our outreach. It is what it is, but we want to be able to do better at it. So we want to hear how you think we can better assist you all and how we can partner with that. So first and foremost, what is SNAP? So SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Most of you probably know it was formerly known as the food stamp program. It's the same thing. It's just called SNAP now instead of food stamps. The objective of the program is to help individuals and families purchase groceries at participating stores. They can also go to their local farmers market, your gas station, anywhere that you can purchase food. It is federally funded and operated through the DCBS office, which most of you probably already knew. It's where you can get your medical card, K-chip, your TANF, anything that is state level or federal level. That is where SNAP is also located and operated out of. The benefits are deposited monthly onto an EBT card. As you can see in the top right corner there, I'm sure you've seen it or you may have had one yourself. They all look the same, and it is a very generic card, and it can only be spent on food. The fund cannot be used for anything else. So why is it important? Other than the obvious of putting food on the table for people that might be insecure, it helps prevent and ameliorate food insecurity. It can also improve health outcomes, such as if your child is in school and they are hungry, they're not going to perform as well in school. If you're at work, you're really not going to perform as well either if you're hungry. So it helps productivity in both the school and work level. If you have any health issues, such as you're diabetic, high blood pressure, things like that, you have more options and more access to healthier food items if you are eligible for SNAP. Monies that family would have used for food can instead be used for other expenses, such as their utilities, unexpected expenses, clothes, gas, birthdays, even Christmas. Money they would have used for food can now be used for other things that helps a household function and run. It also helps stimulate the economy. By that we mean that $1 in SNAP benefits generates $1.79 in economic activity. Local grocers and farmers rely on SNAP for their income. Goes back to what I mean by you could use it at your local grocery store and your local's farmers market. So there is I don't know exactly how to word this, but it's called double dollars, I think, at farmers markets, where every dollar you spend, I think they get an X amount from it, so it helps benefit them in the long run quite a bit. Food banks and pantries, we cannot do it alone. So without the SNAP program, it is very hard for us at food banks and food pantries to keep up with food insecurity, especially if you're a family of 4 or more. So even if you get the bare minimum on SNAP, then you can go to your local food bank and pantry and get all of your non-perishable items, or even like your frozen meats and your cheese and your dairy. And then you can use your SNAP benefits for like your drinks or however it benefits your family. So it's very much a good collaborative. And a good fact, this is from the Feeding America National Office. For every meal that a food bank provides, SNAP can provide 9, which is amazing. And so we really, really tried to get as many people that are eligible for SNAP signed up, because it can provide quite a bit of food. The first thing people ask, are you eligible? And one of the first things we look for is income. So one of the very first guidelines when we are doing a pre-screen on anyone is, are you income eligible? So depending on what statutes your household, because there are different households, what's considered a household, especially if you're homeless or if you're living with a boyfriend or you're living with your parents, or there's different ways to break that up. So whatever counts as your household, that'll be what your income is. And then that's what we go by. And as a connector, we can kind of help decipher what counts as a household and what doesn't. So how much will you get? It is based on an algorithm. We do not have access to the algorithm. We can't tell you what it is. We have no way to know what it is, or even to give you a ballpark of what you might get. So these are just some minimum numbers that we can give you. So nobody will know what you get until the entire application process is completed, just like with anything else. The minimum benefit amount is $23 a month. The maximum amount is $291 a month. And so for a household of 4, the maximum amount is $973 a month, which is quite a bit. That is an awesome amount of money to get for food. So the average household gets around $240 a month. So even if you only receive $23 a month, that is $276 a year. And the way it was explained to me was a really awesome way. So let's say someone gave you a Walmart gift card or coupon for $23 once a month. You would go and you would use that $23 gift card at Walmart every month, because that's money that you don't have to worry about. That's money that you wouldn't have to spend. And so even if you go through the process and you only receive $23 a month, that's still money that you don't have to use. So it's worth it. And it adds up to $276 a year. So it's definitely worth it. Barriers. I know it looks daunting. That's because it is, and it's unfortunate. There are always going to be barriers with anything, especially with the federal or state government at that level. So stigma. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to go in and go into a DCS office or state office. It's not something that people look forward to doing. You know what's going to happen when you get there. It's just a long process, or it can be. You may not be aware. You may not know the eligibility criteria. You may think, oh, I make too much, and you have no idea. So that's why we're here. There's assistance programs. There's all kinds of resources out there, not even just for SNAP, but for other things as well. There's all this misinformation out there, just like with anything. You're going to hear stories, you're going to hear, horror stories on the experiences that people have had. Does not mean that it will happen to you. Our neighbors may not have mobility access. They may not be able to do it. They may not have access to a phone or an internet or transportation. And I'm sure you all see this when you're working at the library and in the community as much as you do. There are all these access and barriers for people to get anywhere. They may be homeless, or they may have a P.O. box, and that doesn't count as a mailing address. So we are here to help with that. And then everyone knows that sometimes you can be on hold for a while, and not everyone has time on their day to set aside to do that. So an individual experience also. It might just be confusing. You look at the packet. Kentucky is one of the longest paper applications for SNAP. It is daunting to look at, but that is why we're here, to help you, to be able to get through that, to be able to get through the application. The turnover rate with anything in the state right now is a lot. So you might have a caseworker named Sarah that starts you on your case, and she may be gone in 2 weeks, and then your case gets dropped, or you don't know who to get a hold of because no one lets you know that your case has been turned over to someone else. And then you're done. You were already didn't want to do it to begin with, and so after that, you're done. I mean, there's a lot that can go into it, but we are here to help you with that. So as connectors, we help with the pre-screening process. We get you started. Are you income eligible? Is your household eligible? Do you have children? What can we do to help you? If it looks like you meet the criteria, then we are here to help you with the application. We go through the application front to back with you. We can do it online. We can do it in paper. We can do it over the phone. We help you submit the documents. We can help you upload the documents online if you don't have access to do that. There's so many ways that we can help. We can check on your status. If you need to recertify, we can help with that. And then we are there to help and remove barriers and meet neighbors where they are. And by that, it goes back to, if they don't have physical access, if they don't have a phone, if they don't have an address, we are there to meet them depending on whatever their situation is. We are there to make sure that they have access to that and remove as many barriers as we can. And because of that, we are also SNAP experts. We go through trainings. We go through quarterly trainings even to make sure that we are up to date as possible in anything SNAP related in the state, so we can answer the questions and make the process as easy as possible. The last thing that needs to be done to complete a SNAP application is an interview with DCBS. And we can't do that, but we can get you all the way there. So the process looks like this. So with us as connectors, we get a referral, and there are different ways to receive those referrals. We receive the referral. We go over the pre-screen with you. We make sure that you are eligible to even get started. And then we walk you through the application process step by step. Any additional assistance that's needed, such as we have other resources. If they need assistance with clothing, transportation, utilities, anything like that, homeless shelter assistance, there are so many other resources that we have at our fingertips that we can help with them, to help them as a whole. We also we have state plans, and we're required to follow up, so they will not get left between the cracks. We will follow up within 30 days to make sure that they've got all the documentation that's needed, and that they've received their interview through DCBS to finish their application. With DCBS, unfortunately, they are still involved, but we can get you as far as we can. So they will complete the interview. They can help you with submit documentation just like we can, and they can also help with additional assistance that we may not have access to. They are the ones in charge of the approval and denial. We cannot approve you or deny you. That is at the state level, and they're the ones that will issue the EBT card and help you with your recertification. So there are so many ways that you can apply. Some people don't need or want application assistance and would rather apply on their own, and that's okay. We encourage people to do that as well. So they can apply online at connect.ky.gov, and it's an online application. It walks them through. They can even upload their own documents should they have access to do that. They can call the DCBS office and apply over the phone and just strictly talk to the DCBS worker. You can visit your local DCBS and apply in person, or turn in a paper application or turn in your documentation at DCBS as well. You can fax documentation. We do not recommend that you mail anything. It just seems like every time we've mailed to anything, DCBS, it just gets lost in the shuffle somewhere or doesn't get to the right person. If you absolutely have to, then you can mail it to one of us. We recommend or fax. It's just mailing is not the safest way to get your documents where they need to be. And then you can email or mail an application to us that we can fax to DCBS, and we can upload it for you. And so that's all I have for my part.
Okay, so I'm going to start with talking about past collaboration that we've done with public libraries. The picture you see here is the Northside Library Pantry at the Northside branch in Lexington. So we have an actual pantry in that library, which is really cool. It's a walk-in, so people don't have to make an appointment. They just show up. They are limited to how many they can serve a day, just because we have to make sure we have enough food for everybody. But so some of the outreach that I have done in the past with libraries is during the hours when people are visiting that pantry, I've rented out a private room at the library there so that people can come in and complete an application with me while they're waiting for their turn at the pantry or after they visited. Also outreach, that's supposed to say outreach events. So if there's already something going on at the library, we can set up a booth or a table there to help people who might be attending that event. Flyers is an easy one, just leaving flyers or brochures, either posting them or having a stack of them available for people that might be interested. And then using it as a meeting spot for application assistance with neighbors. So instead of meeting people at their houses, or if they don't have internet or something, or they're not close to our office, I will drive to whatever their neighborhood library is and meet with them there. Usually that's limited to the ones that are like within a close distance, unless I know that I'm going to be in another county for some reason, because our food bank serves 50 counties. So that's quite a bit of driving if I'm meeting every single SNAP application where they are in that way. So we do a lot of our assistance over the phone, but if for some reason someone can't do it that way, I've met in person before to help with that. Levels of engagement is about, we know that if you've seen one library, you've seen one library. You're all going to operate differently based on what your staff capacity is, based on what your community looks like, what your space looks like. So we know that different folks might have different levels of engagement that they're able to participate in. Maybe you want to collaborate, but you only have the capacity to do a little bit, or maybe you've got some extra time on your hands and you're really committed to getting SNAP into your communities, and you really want to hit the ground running with a lot of support and time and effort. And however you want to do it, we want to be able to help. So we've set up kind of options, like a outreach menu, if you will, to help think about what would that look like at your library and with your capacity to do what you need to meet your needs. So option 1, distribute SNAP materials and promote SNAP outreach programs. Option 2 is basically the same thing as all the stuff that comes with option 1, but you will also coordinate and promote SNAP outreach with a visiting connector, so me, Calvin, or Laura at your library. Or option 3 is the stuff from option 1, and then someone at your library would become their own connector and provide that one-on-one SNAP application assistance. And I'm going to go into each of these in a little more detail. Option 1 is probably the most basic in terms of it requires the least amount of time and effort if you don't have a lot of that to give right now. So this would mean distributing flyers and brochures to families and community partners, whether you just have a stack there available, or you post one on your bulletin board, or if you have it available at checkout for people to see while they're checking out their books, however that works for you. We haven't done this before, but a food bank mentioned to me, who operates in another state, that some of their libraries have a referral icon on the home screen or desktop of their library computers, and the icon will be labeled as something like "Get SNAP Now" or "SNAP Gets Help with SNAP Now" or something like that. And when they click on it, it is a referral link to the home screen, not the home screen, it is a link to the referral page for the food bank. So our referral page just collects basic contact information, your name, your what county you live in, your phone number, email, so that we can reach out to you to provide that SNAP assistance, so that if someone's on your using your library computer and they see that they can get help with SNAP right there, they can just fill out that referral real quickly and submit it, and we've got their information and can contact them and follow up with them about SNAP. So that's an option as well, and it's just requires saving that onto your desktop. Also, you could promote SNAP outreach programs and events through newsletters, social media, whatever other types of methods you might have there. Option 2 is the same thing. Like I said, everything from option 1. So you can do all of the things from option 1, but also coordinate with connectors like me and Laura and Calvin to come and do outreach and application assistance at your library. And we can kind of work with you on how you think that would work best there, if you just want to have us there at a table or booth distributing information, or if you want to have us in a room so that we can actually do the applications on the spot. With any of our outreach, no matter where it is, we kind of tailor what we do so that it meets your needs and the needs of the community there. Promote outreach events through newsletters, social media, emails, robocalls, all of that to garner interest. So if we set aside a date that we're going to be there on this day, it helps to have you guys reach out to your community and let them know, hey, Chelsea from God's Pantry is going to be here doing SNAP assistance. So if you're interested, come by at this time. And having you promote that on top of our promotion, because our promotion is going to meet the people that we're probably already reaching in other ways. So you guys have the best ability to reach new people who we're not already communicating with that need this assistance. We would track all of the numbers of pre-screens and applications that we do at your library, and if you want the data on that, we can provide that to you. And we would follow up with all of those applicants the way we would anybody else who applies through us to ensure that their application runs as smoothly as possible. Option 3 would mean that same thing with everything in option 1, flyers and all of that, but also you would become your own connector and conduct the outreach and application assistance for your communities yourself. There is a difference between direct and indirect applications. And with direct applications, you would do all of your own stuff. You become the connector, you do all of your own applications, you do all of your own outreach, follow-up, data collecting, and all of that is just within your resources, basically kind of eliminating us as the middleman. If you wanted to do an indirect application style, that's a little bit different. We haven't done that before, but I would be willing to do that. I think that Laura's going to stick with direct for now, just because they're still pretty new with SNAP assistance. But for us, we've been established doing this for a while, so I would be willing to get into the indirect stuff. And basically what that means is you would still be a connector and do the applications, but you would submit that data to us for follow-up and tracking, data tracking and all of that stuff, and then we would communicate with that person from that point on. So you would just get in contact with them, get the referral from them, do the application, and then just submit. We would probably create like a form with the information that we need, and then you would submit that to us, and then we would count those applications in our numbers, because you would essentially be doing the application on our behalf. So that's what indirect would mean. If you are interested in becoming a connector, Megan Snow at the Cabinet for Health and Family Services is the one to talk to about that. The cabinet is the umbrella above DCBS. The email address you see there is the one that you would email, famsupportconnectors@ky.gov. Make sure you spell connectors with a KY, because they think it's cute, I guess. Step 1 is she would just determine at first if your organization meets the criteria, which I don't see why a library would not meet the criteria, and ensure that it's the best fit for you. So if you think you have the capacity, I don't see why there would be an issue for any of you out there to do that. You would then fill out a screener, which is, I think, about a page and a half, and return it to Megan, who would review your responses and submit her recommendation up her chain of command. And then once she receives approval from them, she would assist you through the remainder of the onboarding process and trainings. I will give you all a heads up. If you do become a connector, it is a timely process. Laura said that she had to wait 6 months to get final approval because it has to go through FNS and up several chains of command, and there's just a lot of red tape to get that started to even get access to the trainings. So it does take a long time to get approved for that, so keep that in mind. And if you do decide to become a connector, but you still want to work with us in the interim while you're waiting to get that approval, we can also do that too. This is a map of the food banks by service area. So the ones that for sure have SNAP assisters, God's Pantry Food Bank, we serve 50 counties in central and eastern Kentucky. Feeding America, Kentucky's Heartland, where Laura works, provides assistance to 42 counties. And the pad that you see there on the bottom left is also, I forget what it's called. I'll have Laura tell you guys that later, but it's like associated with them.
An affiliate food bank.
Affiliate food bank, that's right.
Yeah, we basically, we just take a truck down there like once or twice a month and take it to their warehouse, and then they're in charge of distributing it throughout those 8 counties.
Gotcha. So they're not doing SNAP through those counties yet, but they will be eventually. They're just starting off with their main counties first. Free Store Food Bank does SNAP assistance in those northern Kentucky counties. Facing Hunger Food Bank, which is actually based in West Virginia, does SNAP assistance for those 4 counties. And actually, God's Pantry Food Bank, we have a collaboration grant with them, so we can also do SNAP assistance for those same 4 counties as well. I don't believe that Dare to Care or Tri-State Food Bank have SNAP programs. I know for sure Dare to Care doesn't. And I think that both food banks are interested in getting started with it, but they just haven't gotten there yet. Worst case scenario, if you have somebody, like a person in that service area that needs help and you can't find anybody to help them, pass them my number, because I'm not going to let anyone go hungry just because the technical assistance isn't there for them yet. If you want to find a connector or agent in your area, so for instance, if you're in one of those service areas that does not have a connector that you know for sure works there, there is a search page. If you go to the connect.ky.gov website, scroll down a little bit, they've got little like hot air balloons that each say different things, and you'll click on the one in the middle that says benefits, and then that'll pull up all the information about benefits. You can do a pre-screen there. And then there's also a Get Local Help tab at the top, which is what you would click on to select Find a Connector. So you can find someone in your area that can help folks get food stamps. You would just type in their name, their zip code, and then pay attention to the checkboxes at the bottom, because you want to make sure that you're finding someone who can assist with what they need. So for instance, we can only do SNAP assistance and childcare assistance. So if someone needs help with Medicaid and they don't sort by that and they call us, we can't help them with that. You also want to look for a public connector. A private connector is going to be someone who only does it for their agency. So for instance, colleges or hospitals, doctors' offices, homeless shelters, domestic violence shelters, places like that are probably only going to do services for the people that are at their agency. Public connectors like us, we do it for anybody who needs that assistance. So just something to keep in mind, because we do get people call us all the time. And if they do, we can help them find a connector that is in their area, who can help them with what they need. But it's just easier if they, easier on them if they don't have to call around to multiple places first. So we left time at the end here because where we haven't done a ton of outreach with libraries in the past, we want to know what your ideas are. Was there something that you expected to hear from us that you didn't hear? What did you expect it to look like? What are you thinking in terms of how it would work in your library? And I guess you could just come off mute if you have any ideas.
That's what I was just about to say. Go ahead and chat it in or unmute and talk about stuff that you've seen or happening.
Or have you had any, good, positive experience with SNAP in the past?
I actually have a question. This is Chris from the Kentucky Science Center. My question is, do you all find that you have more success when you set these things up with a lot of foreknowledge to the community, or do you find most of the people that take advantage of your services are coming in to be in the library and see that and see your area and think that'd be a good place for me to go right now?
I definitely think that we see better results when there's some promotion that we're going to be there. I mean, you do get some attendance from patrons who just happen to be in the library that day and see us there, and they're like, oh wow, I could use help with that. And we definitely get some of those. But there's going to be better attendance, better interest from people who know for sure that it's going to be there that day, rather than just hoping that they happen to come at 3 p.m. on Thursday to see us, or however, whenever we're there. So yeah, I definitely think that promoting it as much as we can helps to get the word out, and get them advance notice so that they can plan to, if they need to switch around their work schedule or something, or get a babysitter, or however that would work.
We also usually bring, like, I know Chelsea has with her, we'll bring like a scanner type thing with her. So like if they bring us their documentation, like, oh hey, I need to turn in my proof of address, my proof of income, we have a mobile thing that we bring with us to outreach events where we can scan in those documents and upload it for them on their case.
Right on. Thank you.
And we can also do more than just application assistance when we're at these events. So if we're going to do an actual application on the spot, there has to be semi-private space available. So we would need to have like a room or something where we could do the application, just because an application requires a lot of personal information. So we can't have that to where other people can be hearing it. But I've also done events where we're just there providing information and flyers, and if that's more your speed to get the information out there, and then you wanted to do like a follow-up day, if we do like sign-ups for, now that you've got the information, you can come back on this day and do the application. However it would work best there, or they can just call us and we can do it over the phone later. But the assistance can look different depending on what people want and need.
Also give them information on, depending on what county we're in and what county we're doing outreach in, we can bring information on the local food banks and food pantries if they're needing food like that day as well.
I see where Ashley Hughes commented, I've always found the Connect website a bit frustrating. I generally find the print application and direct patrons to our fax machine or to the local office to have it faxed in. Sometimes definitely the paper applications are easier. Now that we have the connector status, we try to do the online applications as much as possible, because there's a lot more that we can do for them with the online application. So even though it does take longer to do it online versus just having them fill out the paper application, whenever possible, we want to do the online one now, just because it gives us access to more. We can see what their due date is for the documentation. We can tell them that day what documentation they'll need to submit, and it just gives us more ways to help them. And then someone asked, are we required to work with our most local food pantry representative, or are we able to work with one of you? So we can only do applications for people that are in our service area. So you would want to work with the one who is local to you. If you do not have someone in your area that does SNAP assistance, then you can call me or email me, and or have them call me or email me, and I would be happy to help them with that as well. I have had trouble navigating the website. It tends to run me in circles when I've tried to help patrons. Yeah, it does that. That's why it's beneficial to have a connector do it, because if you're doing it just based on what a client can see or a patron can see, it's not the same as what the connector version looks like. So connectors can do a little bit more. It usually works better for us. The reason that it might not work and we would have to do a paper application is we still do those too. Sometimes the website won't work because they already have an application, or the last time they received benefits was under somebody else's account, and we don't have the access to remove household members or to adjust households. DCBS has to do that. So in that case, we would do the application, the paper application, and then DCBS would update the household later. So there are still situations where we have to use paper, but we try to start with the online one. If all you're comfortable with is the paper applications, that's fine. But you can also pass along the information for the connector who might have more access to help them with the online application if they want to do that as well. Does that help, Ashley? Does anyone else have any ideas of what it might look like, or what your ideas for your library might be, or any other questions for us? Something else to keep in mind too is that there are certain populations that might have different rules when it comes to SNAP. So students are one of those populations, non-citizens, and ABOD, which stands for able-bodied adults without dependents. So people who are supposedly able to work and are not working, there might be special rules set in place. And so connecting someone with a connector if they have questions about that stuff, we are used to answering questions about all of that. We've got the resources to help them with most of that stuff, and they can get through to us a lot quicker than the DCBS hotline. Do you as connectors set up at libraries to help members of the community fill out applications? Yes. Sometimes we do it through events, like if it's a planned day for us to be at the library from 11 to 3 on Tuesday, and we've got a room set up to a sign-up sheet so that we can get to people in the order that they come, and first come, first serve, do their applications. I've done that before. Or if there's someone who just wants to meet in person to do their application rather than doing it over the phone, I've just set up a room to meet with someone at a library, just me and them, to get that completed. That kind of thing would be more limited to people who are closer to where we are located, because I can't be driving 2-3 hours every time one person wants to meet in person for an application. But if I'm coming out for a period to be there for a few hours and meet with multiple people, we can do that. Is that what you were asking, Mackenzie?
I think our, if I'm correct, I think our contact information should be somewhere for you all to access. So if you come up with anything or you think of something that you think might benefit your library, or something that we can do better as connectors to kind of help your community, you can always email us or call us, or send some, give our information to any of the neighbors or people, or people in your community.
I went ahead and put my email and phone number in the chat also, just in case anyone needs that.
I will do the same. Oop, that email is wrong.
I was going to say, you spelled your own name wrong.
I did. Okay, try that one.
Does anyone else have any questions for us about SNAP with libraries, or maybe just SNAP in general, or maybe something that you've heard from patrons that you want to follow up on? I actually have another question. I'm thinking it's probably different depending on the library and the location, but are there specific populations that you tend to see in libraries more than others, like maybe seniors versus families, or people that meet a certain, like, I don't know, demographic like that? Does anyone see like trends like that in libraries where they just happen to see more of a certain group? Because that could affect, we could bring information that's, going to be the most relevant to people in certain categories. No takers. Many low-income patrons who come in and use the library resources daily. That's good. That's what well, not good. I don't want anyone to be low income, of course, but those are obviously the kinds of people that would be eligible for SNAP for sure. We at God's Pantry Food Bank, we include income guidelines on all of our materials because we find that a lot of people don't know that they're eligible for SNAP until they see those income guidelines. They might assume that they make too much, or some people think that because they're working, period, they're not eligible, and that's not true. It's based on how much income you make, not just the fact that you have income, you can't have food stamps. So including those, I think, helps people to realize that they might be eligible, and they like that there is a third party who is not the government office helping them, whether it's because they've had a poor experience or they've heard horror stories or whatever. It just helps having someone there who they think will have a kind ear to listen to their stories and help them the best that we can. So by providing that, even just showing them like we want to help you, starts off with kind of a more of a trusting relationship than what they might have with the SNAP office in general.
Doing the outreach and going to different places is one of my favorite parts of this job. Being able to get out and meet our neighbors where they are and kind of assist them better, because like you just said, it just makes them more comfortable. It just, they feel more applicable to, give you information and to ask for assistance versus calling someone that they don't know and they've never seen. So it's one of my favorite parts, being able to meet people face to face.
Absolutely, Laura. I agree 100%. I'm going to check one more time if anybody has any questions, and then if not, that's all we have for you folks.
Thank you guys, and thank you for everything that you do in your communities. I know that you probably hear that, or even if you don't, I know that we greatly appreciate all the work that libraries put in. You all are underrated in communities as far as the amount of resources and time and effort you put in. So thank you very, very much for everything that you all do.
Well, thank you for being here and talking to us about SNAP and giving them people to talk to.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions at all, even if we're not in your service area, if you just have a question about the program, feel free to reach out to us and we'll help you with that. And we can set you up. I know I know connectors and resources in other service areas that aren't my own as well. So if you want to know who is the person in your service area, I can get you contact information for that.
Perfect.